Disguised as one of Santa's helpers, I'll steal these presents from right under his nose.
Now hold it there, you little fake elf.
Be safe. What are you doing here? I would have gotten away with this if it weren't for you.
Sergeant Be Safe, you've been a very good boy this year.
Hello, Santa and Rob You Blind. I knew you'd be in this area right about now.
Ooh.
Wow, this is perfect timing. This good family has just returned. It's always a good idea to keep your doors and windows locked when you're not home. Don't give Rob You Blind the advantage. There's very inexpensive cameras and security systems you can set up as well.
Sergeant Be Safe, thank you for coming. We appreciate everything you do. Without you, this holiday season would be ruined.
Wow, thank you, Sergeant Be Safe. You saved the day.
You're welcome, and I'm happy to hear it. You guys enjoy the rest of the day. Santa, you have a safe trip back to the North Pole.
Ooh. Party pooper, be safe.
No gifts for you, Rob You Blind. You'll be put away this holiday season. Sergeant Be Safe wants you and your family to have a safe and enjoyable holiday season. And that's your tip of the day, to have a safe holiday.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, ho, 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 ho.
Subscribe now.
Welcome to Black and Blue, the podcast that's just for you. We bring solutions to everyday problems. We are here to humanize the badge. By interviewing first responders and discussing their trainings, experiences, and publications. Black and Blue airs weekly at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in.
Let's go, start the show.
And we are live and back in the studio again. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. We are kicking off the month of December with another barn burner. We got a special guest backstage right now, and I'm going to introduce him momentarily. But thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Coach Clee. I'm your host. Sometimes you might know me as Clark Kent. You might know me as Clee Tillman. You might know me as Coach Clee. But either way, I'm your motivational speaker, your empowerment coach, your author, and your favorite baker's favorite baker. And we are here live on Black and Blue. This is the podcast that's just for you. We go live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time weekly. And when we do, we go with a first responder or a law enforcement official, and we talk whether they're rookie, their season, or retirees, and we talk about their training experiences and their publications, and we have a lot of fun doing it. This is our effort to humanize the badge and get some of that information out there. All right, we got a all-star lineup today. I'm going a little quickly. Things are going to be a little different because I got a special video that I want to show to you guys, so I'm trying to get through this portion of the show so we can get to that video, and it'll set the stage for everything that's coming in this podcast. The month of December is moving nicely. We got an all-star lineup for the month as well, so make sure you guys tune in. Wonderful things. This platform, Starting to Be Safe, and this platform, Black and Blue, is sponsored by One Way Publishing. One Way Publishing, yeah, you see the 5 books behind me. I got to publish it through them. And there's also an all-star lineup of other books. They have other clients. 2 of them are dropping this month. I got to give them a shout out just in time for Christmas. One, Kay Childs and her poetry book is dropping as well, available on Amazon. And another one, Shayla Thompson, her children's book is dropping this month as well, and it's available on Amazon too. And we're going to discuss those in detail a little bit later. Like I said, we're trying to move on because we got a wonderful show that I can't wait to bring forth to you. Okay, make sure you tag, like, and share. Get this available. This is a live show. We're streaming on 5 different platforms. We're on 2 on Facebook, we're on 2 on YouTube, and we're on 1 on LinkedIn. All right, so make sure I can't see who's actually on here unless you put your name and where you're from in the comment section. Once you do that, I'll give you the shout out that you're looking for. This is interactive, like I said, so if you have a question, make sure you put that in the comment section as well, and we'll address your question as soon as we can. It's about a 5 to 10 second delay from the time that you post something until the time that we see it. I see Ernie Stevens is on. Thank you for the connection too, because without him, I wouldn't even know our special guest who's in the background right now. He's looking to forward to hearing from Chief Moya. Absolutely. Ernie Stevens, thank you for all that. Workwithclee.com is the website as well. That's in the comments section, and it will be scrolling below. That's if you're looking to make it, if you're trying to come on the platform, if you're looking to be a voiceover for Starting to Be Safe, or if you want to work with One Way Publishing. You know their motto is they can turn a mere thought into a book that's bought. All right, got Billy Drees on here. Elliott PD, thank you for tuning in as well. Thank you. Tag, like, and share. Absolutely. It's going to be a fun show. It's going to be a fun show. I'm going to jump right into the intro so I can show the video, and we got the meat and potatoes coming. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I got a special guest. Some of you may know him. Others of you may not, but by the end of this podcast, you will know him. He is Chief Elliott Moya, of the Eliot Police Department, fumbling over my words. He's got over 20 years of experience. He's worked with criminal investigations. He's worked with community relations. He's got a criminal justice degree. He's been highlighted in a documentary, which we will touch on momentarily. He's been highlighted also in podcasts and been interviewing on panels and public speaking. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here's the video that highlights him and his department and the efforts that they made to serve the community better and promote community relations. Then we're going to jump right into it. Stay tuned.
I just knew that this was going to be a turning point. I was worried was how much was this going to come at us, and wait a minute, how much do the officers know about terms to them that were going to be new? White privilege, Black Lives Matter. Like, what is all of this?
Eliot Police Chief Elliott Moya reached out to the staff at Greenacre, a Baha'i center of learning nearby.
One day I was on a phone call and Robert says, hey, the police chief was going to come today. So I went down and I met the police chief and Robert, and they were having a conversation about his feelings about everything and what could we do to bring people together through all of this.
No, we didn't talk about it before, we really didn't. The last time that we had talked anything that touched on race discrimination or anything like that was when, somebody called me a spick at the police department, and that was, I didn't talk about that the right way.
My experience with policing is not good. Like probably any other Black person growing up in New York, I've been harassed by cops. At 8 years old, I witnessed a Black man get shot by a police officer. Talking to the cops is not something that you do where I come from. I was definitely nervous.
The staff at Greenacre spent many hours studying and consulting together. They eventually crafted workshop materials with quotes from the Baha'i writings and discussion questions around the principles of the oneness of humanity, the inherent nobility of all, and the importance of universal participation.
The life here in Maine, where I live, is not the same life in New York City or Baltimore or Miami or San Francisco. For instance, Najee told me he was educated in school is so far different from what I was taught when I was in school.
And one time an officer was like, yeah, they got this new black national anthem out. I said, I grew up singing that national anthem. I actually knew that national anthem better than I did the actual American national anthem. And that's what we sung in school. When the first national anthem was created, I would have been considered a slave. Did that include me? But this one includes all of us. This is more American than anything else. I said, did you look at the lyrics? Read it. And is there anything harmful in this?
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty.
And it changed my entire mind on the subject of just the national anthem. That was a very serious one to me. And I walked out of that meeting that day absolutely mind blown that we had two different educational systems teaching two different ways.
We read the mission statement of the police and we were like, wow, this is really good. You know, like it has the words of empathy in it and, you know, treating everyone with fairness and kindness, and it just didn't read like a prescriptive mission statement from a police department. It had a lot more feeling to it.
Growing up and having questions but not knowing who to talk to about it, or not, again, not understanding. I grew up listening to a lot of rap music, and obviously the language they use in those rap videos are typically derogatory. So what's one of the conversations I got into Najee about? I'm like, so if this is a bad word, why is everybody using it and promoting it in their music videos?
And he really wanted to just talk to us. You could tell he just had a lot on his mind. We actually stayed an hour standing on the lawn, just hearing him question after question after question.
When you look at what we've been able to do here, it's cost nothing but our time. I keep looking forward to how do we challenge ourselves now to be more intelligent, police in a better way. What does that look like? I'm not sure, but we need to be looking at it.
I'm not so set in my ways as I was before. I think I try to listen a little bit more. Everybody has their story and where they came from. And a lot of times we're in such a hurry and a rush in the world that we don't take the time to just look around.
It's been ingrained in us, treat everybody the same. But when we do that, we don't consider someone's background and how they've been treated in the past, either by the system or by other factors in their life. And so that's something I think that has left a mark on me. And when I encounter defendants who might not have had the same life circumstances as somebody else, I do try to take that more into account than I might have previously.
When I went back to New York, I had to use the restroom, and I easily just went up to the cop and said, hey, do you know where the nearest restroom is? And he was like, I think it's in this building. I went and found a closer restroom, used it, came back. I was like, oh, there's a closer restroom right there, just in case you need to go. And he was like, oh, thank you. That would have never happened before. That doesn't sound like it probably is a major thing, but it was for me. It was for me.
Eliot Police Chief Moya partnered with the founder of the Seacoast Black Lives Matter organization.
When you look at Tanisha and I, we're leaders of our organizations, and we're modeling right now what really should be done, is to sit down, have a conversation. And with that, we've gotten together a couple of times now. This is a wonderful person. This is somebody I consider a friend, and that's what we need. Mm-hmm. That's what we need right now, Mm-hmm.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That's a summation, quick summation. I had to chop it down, and make it available for the podcast here. The documentary that was sent to me. So we're going to jump right into this interview. Without further ado, get your questions ready. You guys got a little preview of who's here and what we're going to be talking about. Without further ado, I'm going to bring him to the stage. We got Chief Elliott Moya. Elliott, are you there?
I'm here, Clee. How you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for making yourself available and coming here on the show. I appreciate you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Yeah. I'm a chief of police and for the Elliott, Maine Police Department. Very, very small, safe community. Here in southern Maine. Been there for about 17 years. Kind of came up through the ranks there. All the way from the academy right through investigations, and here I am. I've got 2 kids, a wonderful wife. You can see in the background we're right in the middle of the holiday goodness that comes this time of year. So it's good. It's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm loving the background right now. It looks very festive and looks very good. Can you explain to us what gave you the burning desire? I know that you're a prior veteran, served in the United States Air Force. We talked about that backstage. But what gave you the burning desire to want to get into law enforcement?
Good question. I think I grew up very young. I just always was fascinated with police. In New York, grew up originally from Brooklyn, New York, and
okay.
You'd see the police everywhere. And as a little kid, right, that was it. I think at some point, I think everybody wants to be, right, a police officer, a firefighter. And I just kind of, kept going with that. Sometimes I wonder if I should have chose firefighting, but, I'm happy where I am and proud of what I do in our profession.
Absolutely. Got Ernie Stevens here saying you're growing that Santa Claus beard. That's Seti P saying good evening, Mr. Tillman. Thank you, Seti P, for tuning in. Make sure you tag, like, and share. But tell us a little bit about. So we got to see the documentary. What started? What actually happened that you got to reach out to the Green Acres community to actually have a sit down and a one-on-one with your department and that organization that kind of started at least that documentary? I'm pretty sure there's a story behind all of it.
Yeah, there is. I guess it's funny because the word I always use about how, what drove me to go there, I think it was panic. It was kind of like, okay, this was right, right after everything that happened in Minneapolis, everybody coming down on law enforcement. It was just an incredibly difficult time. And even in Maine, right, I think every corner of the country on some level, right?
Yeah,
this was right in the forefront. And as a police chief, small town, I just, something didn't sit right with me, and so I went over there and Green Acre is a Baha'i community in the town of Elliott that has just really supported us. Really just a fantastic place to visit. And we ended up coming up with an idea of, basically, okay, we know that you're struggling. We know that, this is a difficult topic. Well, then come here and let's talk about it. And we did. And, we ended up having what we called sessions. It wasn't, training. And the key for me and what I wanted the most was for it to be authentic, right? Right after this, and even still today, we see all that online training, right? It's out there, and, you buzz through it and hope you passed the quiz at the end of it because you didn't pay attention. So, I really wanted it to be authentic. And at that first session, I'll tell you, the first 10 minutes or so, it was quiet. There was some tension,
I bet.
But it really, it was a very safe environment, and everybody got to ask good questions. Both those that kind of thought they had issues with police officers and vice versa. I mean, the documentary goes into some of that stuff.
Right.
And it wasn't but minutes that we were, laughing, having a good time, and the conversation, really just became deep. And really, I mean, it was wonderful conversation, and it has continued, so just one of those things that I'm really happy that I did that as a department, we made that move, and it has paid dividends and, through and through. So it's been great.
Absolutely. I know you sent me a link for the documentary, but if someone wanted to go watch it, where's that available at for if someone can go view it for themselves?
Yeah, I think I found it on the Greenacre website, which I don't know it off the top of my head, but we can certainly get it on the in the comments there. But yeah, it's that's where I ended up going to see it, and we've been doing showings of it here and having question and answer. Just did one last week, and it's interesting. It's just interesting people's take on the documentary. I hope you enjoyed it. You got to see the whole thing.
I did. I enjoyed it. I thought it was very well done. It shows perspectives on both sides, as far as first responder, law enforcement, and the community and staff members with Greenacre, and how everyone's, like you said in the documentary, that at first the tension was in the air. You can kind of feel the anxiety, the anticipation before, but then you could see as the conversations went through. It was very welcoming. It was very warm. It was very educational. I know the one part where one of the staff members where I'm here for my friends, I'm here for my family, and then actually, you know what, I have to accept the police officers into my world too, because everyone has a story, and everyone's story is different and unique, but all of it intertwines.
Yeah.
And that's where community policing and community relations come in. How do you think your department has changed since that sit down, or since those meetings took place as far as community relations?
It's funny. You just said it. I think you used the word intertwined, and what I found is that everything is kind of intertwined. This I think this project is something that we continue to go and just have conversations over at Greenacre, just to kind of, they're just deep and rich conversations. So they raise us a level, you know what I mean? And I think that because we are as a team doing that our conversations every day at the police department end up being deeper. As the pandemic started, we got very committed to crisis intervention team, mental health, response. And that went into officer wellness and all of this. I'll tell you, every one of these pieces is part of this big puzzle that I think ultimately will get to a really good place if we kind of keep focused here. But as a department, that's kind of the journey we've been taking, and each one of those things right now we're I think really looking at the wellness thing, and it's been great. It's a struggle. There's been a lot of failures along the way with the wellness journey, but we're not stopping. We continue to do it. So this was just kind of, like I said, a piece of that puzzle that was unexpected, that it was going to be as rewarding, and as such a learning experience that thankfully, right, every one of the officers accepted it and just really enjoyed it and got a lot from. So really proud of them and the work that we've been able to do.
Right. Absolutely. And I know you just got back in from traveling, from being, were you actually on a panel, or were you in training itself for that? That was for mental health and wellness as well, correct?
Yeah, it was a roundtable discussion for Valor. If anybody's familiar with that, Valor for Blue. Certainly, if you're not familiar, definitely go check that website out. It's got a lot of resources for officer wellness, a lot of good little kind of quick courses that can, just kind of help drive you in that direction if you're not there yet. And certainly, some rewarding stuff, great resources.
Gotcha. Al Gons, thank you. Keep this podcast going. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. We're having a lot of fun getting this information out and learning in the process. We're building the planes, we fly it. So Chief, talk about, I know in the documentary you said that and where you're at is 90% Caucasian or white. How do you believe that since the documentary, since the interviews, since the sit downs have happened, that race and justice have come into play with your department and with the community and with the outreach of the community as well?
I think I love law and order, right? I think we need rules and we need to follow them because we know there's some people out there that get wild and always, challenge the system. But, we start at the academy, right? We come out of the academy and we want to get out there, run and gun, and, make all these arrests. And you kind of have this view of the police culture, from the academy, which is way up, right? Vigilance, all that stuff, which is great. It's what we need to learn at that point. And then, as time goes, we get a little wiser, right? We start settling down, we start seeing other perspectives, right? And that was where I kind of thought, empathy was important. It's one of our core values because, it's just, you got to kind of walk a mile in somebody's shoes, and
True.
These kind of programs and things that we have done, I think, have allowed us to do that. So I think we're, policing a lot better than those days fresh out of the academy. Right now, a little bit more experience, a little bit more compassion, trying to solve problems. It's just, it's a challenge. Don't get me wrong, right? I mean, it's like I think we were talking before. I've been a chief since 2016, and we've had, you name it. I mean, a pandemic you threw in there, like all these challenges that have just been incredible, for society to deal with.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of, that's kind of what what it is. I think just, looking at it differently and trying to problem solve. I mean, we got on every level. I think anybody who's a police officer has that want and willingness to serve. I think it's just in comparison a little bit different from, day one on the road after FTO and where I am now. It's still the same kind of service, but with a greater goal. How do we really help? How do we, help other than hinder, right? Which sometimes we can very easily do that with the authority that we have.
Right. Absolutely. Ernie Stevens put the website here in the comment section for the Valor. And we got a LinkedIn user. Sorry, no name shows up. Said a wonderful thing about you. Sorry, the print small. One thing about Chief Moya is he remains steadfast, consistent, and true to his word through his actions. This dates back to his early days in loss prevention. It's great to see him continue his legacy in his service and commitment to the community. Absolutely. Shout out to you there.
Yeah, loss prevention. That's old school. I wonder who that is.
Yeah. LinkedIn doesn't always show the name. Sorry about that. And what actually on the LinkedIn site itself, since we're on 5 different platforms, it doesn't show. But if you go to LinkedIn, it'll probably show exactly who it is.
Yeah.
So the two different worlds colliding. Once the tension got through, and you had staff members that may have been Tammy O'Brien. Well said, Tammy O'Brien. There we go.
Okay.
And the tensions kind of subsided. What kind of other conversations took place? Conversations on both sides, as far as why do you respond in such a way? Why do you react in such a way? Maybe the staff members were asking, or some of your officers may be asking, why is everyone protesting right now? Why is it a difficult time for law enforcement when we're legitimately out here just trying to do our job? How did you take on those challenges?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think it was tough. I mean, here we are right in the last decade. We've come so far, right? Technology is different from when we started. All these things, social media, the media can, you really got to be careful where you're getting your information, and so,
very true.
So as officers, I think everybody was looking at that, and it was dark negativity, man. Everywhere you looked, it was negative. And so, to be able to do this again was just that good, safe opportunity to get down and get to the nitty gritty of, let's ask these questions. And I think if you don't seek out some of this information, right, you're just never going to know. Right. A great example was the national anthem, in that documentary, which I just always go back to that because to me that's so fascinating. And every one of the officers that we have, they love to learn, right? They're hungry to learn. It's just we're not always going to seek out, what we don't know or what maybe seems that it isn't important in our lives at the time. So, so that I didn't really get any pushback, which is which is what I expected with the crew that I've got.
Gotcha.
It really ended up kind of going into just more sessions, more conversation, mental health. Improving our mental health policing was just made sense.
Mhm.
It's hard to deny, right? That we could just kind of, everybody's calling us. We know, and everybody talks about mental health policing and wellness, so it's out there, right in the forefront now. But it just makes sense. And so I didn't have a difficult time, or didn't really have to do much culture change. Everybody just kind of accepted it as this makes sense. With that, which is important to say, like going into the crisis intervention team, that was one of the officers' idea. The only good thing I did about that was listen, because I had a couple officers that said, hey, let's do this. Let's look at this. We're getting asked, how are the citizens of our community, since everybody's behind closed doors through the pandemic. And then, I know Ernie's watching, but then I watched that documentary, and that was a turning point for me.
Yeah.
That was amazing. That was it's just what I needed to see to say, okay, this is it. This is how do we do this? And I know San Antonio is much bigger than we are, but how do we do this? And we did. We made it work, and very proud of that. And part of the co-response with our mobile crisis teams that were available there. I mean, we did that, and we did that on almost no budget. So that wasn't really. Oh, it's always one of the worries, of course, right? Budget and everything like that. But we made that work, and it worked fantastically.
Good job. I know. Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, I just had a little bit of technical difficulty, so therefore, I'm sorry. It kicked me out of the studio, but you kept it going. I appreciate that with good information. Right now, we're going to pause for the calls because Sergeant Be Safe has something to say. We're going to bring him up, and we're going to jump right back into this interview.
Ooh, look at all the pretty butterflies in the sky. I guess I'll just cross the street here.
Oh, good. Light's green. I'm glad I can go. Oh my gosh, watch out.
Sergeant Be Safe, Beast Mode, baby!
Megan, watch out for that car. I got you.
Oh, geez. I didn't even see that car coming.
Oh my gosh, are you two okay?
Yes, we're okay. Megan, you have to do a better job paying attention.
I just wanted to cross the street.
I didn't see you walking there.
Megan, you just can't cross in the middle of the street. You have to go to the intersections and use the proper crosswalks. Wait for traffic to clear and then go. If you don't follow these simple directions, you could get a ticket for jaywalking, or worse, be hit by a car and seriously injured.
I'll be more careful from now on. Ooh, look at the other butterfly.
Oh my goodness.
Sergeant Be Safe, you are the best.
This is very true. Thank you very much. I did have to turn on supersonic beast mode to jump and get Megan out of the way. Remember, folks, look both ways before crossing the street and wait till the intersection's clear and cross at the crosswalks. And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
And there it is. Sergeant Be Safe with supersonic beast mode, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. But we're jumping back into this interview. Got Chief Elliott Moya here, and I know he started talking about police officer wellness and mental health. And that's been a hot topic here, especially within the past couple of years, and a big buzzword in this community, because we're focusing on the mental health of ourselves in the community, and the mental health as a whole for the community as well. How important do you think it is to actually deal with our public with empathy and sympathy, and focus more on on mental health and awareness, as opposed to putting charges on people and getting them in the system. And I know Ernie talked about this as well, is just kind of pipelining them through the criminal justice system, but not getting them the help that they actually need or want. And it kind of clogs us up to actually focus on what we're supposed to be focusing on, which is crime itself.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like I said before, definitely not the way, I looked at it through the lens initially, right at the beginning of the career. But, like I said, as we get wiser and we start to see what makes sense, charges on little nonsense can really, just change a person's life, negatively. I mean, just that impact is so great. And again, like I was saying before, in these days, social media technology, that stuff lives forever, right? When the news calls and they want the press log, and you want to send all that stuff and somebody's name's there. I mean, it's tough, it better be something pretty significant, I think, it's so yeah. And again, like I said, I wasn't, I didn't always think that way, and but now it just makes sense, it's just to be empathetic, and to look at everything with, through that empathetic lens, I think is so very important. And it even makes the job better. You make better connections, you're policing on a deeper level, right? I recently, talking about we sometimes call it law enforcement, right, as the catch-all, but that's just a little part of our job, right? Policing as a whole is what we do, and how we do that is so important. So, empathy is top for me right now, just as far as that goes. And you just never know when you can help somebody and how that changes. I know, recently one of the officers where, somebody would come in and say, hey, officer so-and-so did this a long time ago, and it changed my life. It changed the direction I was going, and when you give a kid a break, you just never know the impact that has, so, that's, I want to see more of that, that's more important to me than speeding tickets. Although, speeding is a serious issue, but I think everybody knows what I'm getting at,
Yeah, absolutely. Jamon's on here. Thank you for tuning in. Good evening to you too as well, sir. Appreciate that. But yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I know jumping out of the academy, you're looking forward to running and gunning and doing all the fun stuff, and you're at the height of your, like you said, awareness, and you're like, I finally made it. I finally have on the uniform. I got the fast car. Let's go get them and have fun while we're doing it. And then you realize, getting in this profession to want to do a good job, to help people out, and to work at a high capacity, then you realize once you learn how to navigate through this career, that everyone, it's not a us against them mentality. It's let's work together to make the community and the world a better place. And once you learn how to do that and communicate with people, you start learning, okay, this helps this situation. This also helps that situation. And you learn different routes basically to get to where you need to be to help out the community. Let's talk about mental health and wellness along with officers, because that's a buzzword itself. How well, or how can I put this? With your department or other officers that first responders that how important is it to at least check on, do mental health awareness checks or check in, or just to get things out that we pin up so much since we're the fixers and we don't always open up? How important do you believe that is to be?
I think right now, I could be wrong, but I think that this focus on wellness is incredible. It's needed. And I think it's going to be, if we keep moving in this direction, it's going to be what, I hate to say fixes our profession, right? But it's going to be something that really, really impacts it in such a positive way. And we're already seeing, so many people, that just come forward and talk about this stuff. We talked about me going to Oklahoma recently. Man, some of the stories that I heard there were so deep. So impactful. And I ended up, I talk about it openly, it was a point in time where it was like a lot going on, and And I was like, I need a little bit of help here. I feel alone. I feel, so I went and went to therapy, did that. I was like, wow, I feel good. I feel like a weight is lifted, and I started talking about that with the guys. I mean, there was nothing deep. I felt very comfortable talking about it, but just, I always say, like, my head was nodded, and I just needed to needed that third party to help me unknot my head and get my direction kind of going back at a fast pace. And as I talked about that openly, again, the conversations, which were already deeper and better from some of the stuff we did, it improved even more, which is just, I can't tell you the amazing impact. Our little department actually hosts a conference on wellness. We've done 2 so far. In fact, Ernie Stevens was at the last one and presented. Chad Bruckner, who you had on, was there. And this is, people have said that this is a, kind of like a conference like no other. It's very different. Okay. It's very deep, and we just, kind of talk about, we have our presenters, we have people that are there that do some of the psychologists that help do our wellness checks. Just incredible. And it's just that is so valuable, and we've made some amazing connections that I think have helped our department. And even recently, I heard, because of the conference, other people that have done some of the stuff that were presented at the conference, and it's just, and they were saying it's great. Our goal to do the conference is to help one person, and we're learning now that we're helping a lot more than that. So the effort is so worth it. So worth it.
Gotcha. Making the connections and making a big difference is a good thing. Congratulations to you and everyone who shows up for the conference. I'm from what I hear and from what I saw just from doing research, it's pretty dynamic. So I'm looking forward to watching it flourish and do great things.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I know also from the documentary, toward the end of it, I guess you had to do some sort of role playing, or you had to read a script of what's her Tanisha. I'm sorry, I'm gonna mess her last name up. And then you guys became good friends, and like you said, you guys are head of organizations, and you guys have an important job. But to actually understand the other person's point of view, it merges the community. Can you tell us a little bit about that and the partnership that you and her had as far as the podcast?
Yeah, so it was Project Empathy that we did, and basically. Okay. Her and I were paired up, and of course, right. I think at first neither of us wanted to do it. It seemed, a little bit cliche, right? The police officer activist. Yeah. So reluctantly, we did it, and I was, so what the project is she would write a story, a true story, and kind of put it down on paper, as did I, and I would read hers. She would read mine. Mm-hmm. And my story was about my response to a suicidal veteran, and just kind of going through processing the emotions that I felt on the way there, and a powerful story for me that's vividly in my mind, and hers was kind of her experiences through life as a Black woman, and just really, really powerful stuff. So from there, we did it a few times, and it was met with such, people loved it, and people were just coming everywhere. This is great. I was a little bit worried, right? Because the law enforcement community is like, what are you doing? And so, like, as you were saying, it's leadership, and at the end of the day, we have to have these conversations. We have to talk to one another. You said it before too, us and them, everything is us and them. I made the joke the other day, here in New England, right? Even the Red Sox fans, right? It's Red Sox fans versus Yankees fans. That's how we're kind of taught to, go into the world, right? So, but it really is. So we kind of get, fragmented. We forget that we're all human. We're all so similar. Yeah. One of the things Tanisha and I mean, when we sit and have conversations and when we catch up, there's not many differences, between her and I.
Right.
So it's just kind of fascinating, but we put all this other nonsense into it, right? You're on this team, so I can't like you. Yeah. and so, for me, I think that's the biggest, one of the biggest takeaways was it's time to talk. And then there's a lot of listening, a lot more listening that needs to be done. Right. And we can't make, I don't think we can really make any improvements to ourselves, our systems, if we don't do that, if we're not looking to listen, to learn. And again, kind of with that empathetic ear, and so it's been a great time for me right now in policing because of, because of this kind of different way of thinking, I guess, if that makes sense. Right.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I, one of the things that Tanisha says all the time, and it drives me crazy, is that she hates police. Right. And so that, and that's a tough one. And so, I'm like, I guess I could say I hate BLM, but I was like, I don't hate you. Right. And so we're, for some reason, we just decide to hate, the organizations as a whole. Right. So, and we forget that, hey, Elliot, Billy, Ernie, these guys are great guys. They're police.
Yeah.
And so, so it's interesting. It was also described to me once, like, this whole movement was, we were kind of the low hanging fruit. We were kind of we have the authority, we have the guns, there's some of us that screw up, but as a whole, I don't like when people say, I hate the police, because I will still say that we are a very noble profession, and it takes a special person, I think, to be a good officer.
Yeah.
So that, that's one of the things I struggle with, but I listen, I hear it, and we keep growing, and we keep having these conversations, and it's worth it. Absolutely worth it.
Yep. Absolutely. Got a comment here on the floor from Gus Elliott. Hey, Moya, doing a great job, brother. Shout out to you. Absolutely. And I know exactly what you're saying. Because sitting down and having a conversation is very important, whether it's town hall, whether it's digital on some sort of platform, whether it's face-to-face, whatever it may be, just actually sitting down and actually having the opportunity to listen and empathize, sympathize, or just to remove yourself and put yourself in the other person's shoes, and you can actually see through the eyes of the other person. And like you said, I've learned this through the course of the career. I've learned this through this platform itself, and just what everyone else has been saying. Everyone's stories are intertwined some way, and everyone's stories are pretty similar. It's just quote unquote, like you said, it's whatever team that you play for. All right, well, I'm loyal to this team, but that team over there, I can't. I just hate that team. And then once you get to learn the individuals on the team, you're like, they're people too. They struggle with death in their family. They struggle with diseases and throughout their family or friends or things like that. They struggle with financial problems, car problems, employment. Everyone has issues in whether it's personal, spiritual, or physical. And understanding that we're all human beings. We all try to work through those problems the best way we can. And realistically, we all want to be heard, and we all want to help one another too. I think it comes down to how we go about doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I guess we overthink it, right? We overthink, this is a big problem. How are we ever going to get to the bottom of it? And I think, even with the podcast that Tanisha and I do, sometimes it's just that conversation, right? Yeah. It's these small little steps. Like, let's just keep making, incremental change until all of a sudden, everything's changed for the better, hopefully. Right. So, I kind of, it's like how I approached wellness at first. I wanted it to be snap of a finger, and I've got a wellness program. Everybody's great. We're all, we're all eating right. We're all fit, but as we move slower through it now, again, I keep kind of saying it, it's a little bit more rewarding. Not everybody's ready to jump into, a yoga studio, right? Not everybody's ready to go to, a therapist or, get counseling.
Right.
But at some point they are. So you've got to allow people to do that, on their schedule. And that's kind of the approach now, right? It's going to be slow going, but always moving in that direction. So
Absolutely. Which brings me to another topic. You said this profession is still, whether it's loved or hated, and it's very cyclic as well. We go through moments where our profession is extremely high, where thank you for your service. Thank you for being there. Thank you for doing what you do. Most of the time, I think we're right here in the middle where if we're not needed or seen, it's accepted. They expect if you dial 911, the first responder is going to come. Lately, we've been at the very bottom where it seems like the entire world just hates everything that we do for whatever reason it could be. And it bounces around from those three. I think we're coming out of that. So we're coming back toward the middle. But becoming back toward the middle, we're having a huge retention and recruitment problem across the nation. I know there's a couple young adults on this platform that may watch the replay that are either going to soon be graduating high school or graduating college or getting out of the military, and they're wondering what the rest of their life's going to look like. Like, I kind of have the bug for law enforcement, but I don't know if I want to put up with the heartache and pain, the schedules, listening to how everyone doesn't like what we do or whatever. What would you say to someone in that position that may have the bug or they're looking to get in law enforcement but are a little reluctant? What kind of advice would you give them?
This may sound cliche, but get into it and be the change. And I say that because we continue to be and have so often been reactive to everything. I mean, it's kind of like we're kind of getting in our own way. Why aren't we identifying things that can make us better and doing it? Like, let's get ahead of it all, right? Right now I think it's as a result of everything that's happened, and as you said it, right, the tears of where we are in the eyes of society. I don't know that I'd want to get into this job right now if I had to start over. But if we start becoming proactive, if we start making these changes, if we continue to move to that space where we're caring about our officers and their families, I think that's going to be demanded. It's not going to be wellness is very much not an option. Right. I get it, right? Some departments are still not even looking at it yet throughout the country. Some they have great, robust programs, but I don't think a wellness program, not having one, it's just not an option anymore. And I think, part of that, generationally, we always hear, right? The generations are so different, and we've got to make this profession continue to have it be a noble profession, continue to serve. But, a big part of that is our culture, how we carry ourselves, and how we take care of ourselves. I heard something great in Oklahoma, and I'm sure you've probably heard it, but we always say get home safe, right? And I think for the most part, I think we do a pretty good job at that. But are we getting home well? Right? Safe and well, two different things. Let's get home safe, but let's be well. And I think once we do that, and once we can prove as a whole that we're working on that and we care, I think we'll see people, starting to come back to the job. I think I'm hopeful anyway.
Gotcha. It's a good answer, a good explanation for those again young adults that are kind of got their toe dipped in the pool but haven't jumped all the way in. Good explanation. I'm gonna ask caveat to that, the other side of the coin now. Same question, except a retention problem. You got seasoned officers or officers that can see the light at the end of the tunnel. They remember the days when got in probably post 9/11 or around that time. So got in right when it was, hey, thank you guys. Thank you for your service. I love what you're doing. You had a good career of doing wonderful things. And now they're toward the end, and they're riding their time out, or many have already left, or many have mentally checked out. Many have retired on duty, or all the other quiet quitting, all the other terms that are out there. What kind of advice would you give to the seasoned officer that still has a little bit of gas in the tank, but it's just not, the enthusiasm isn't there like it used to be?
You know what, Clee, I'm going to be honest. I was that guy not that long ago. Gotcha. I was just looking at the calendar, counting and then there was a point where I was like, you know what, I don't need to retire. I'm still young. I'm going to go out there, do something else, and try to, climb up the ladder doing that. So yeah, I think I go back to saying, being proactive. Like, there's a lot of officers out there that probably have the answer how to improve our profession, right? Let's start looking at let's look at schedule changes. Let's look at, it's not always just money. Let's throw money at the problem. But we've got to be part of that solution. And I think that policing, we've done the same thing kind of over and over. And we haven't really looked to be creative and change, things like a schedule. I think there's a police department here in Maine that's taken on a firefighter schedule, and that's intriguing. Does that allow for, an officer to be home with his family, to be able to make sure he's at those games? Let's look at it. Let's try it. Let's not let things get in our way that, that wouldn't allow us to make this job what we need it to be for us. And I think that answer does lie within those officers that that have that tenure, that have been here for quite a while. But I get it, just like what I went through. You feel stuck, you feel, you kind of get selfish. You're just like this, this place stinks, and I always, when I was pulled out of that, thankfully, you realize that it's not the police station that stinks. It's not the officers, right? It's all here. It's all what's going on within yourself. So, so it's a very interesting realization for me. And we all go through it. We all go, through the ups and downs, right? That's just being human.
Yeah.
But again, when we talk about wellness, we talk about teamwork and being the type of team that recognizes when one of your brothers or sisters is having a kind of a bad go. Let's figure out the problem. Let's figure it out together. Truly being there instead of gossip or talking behind somebody's back. Things like that. That is just toxic. That's never gonna it's never gonna help. And we've had a lot of that, I think, in our in any profession. But we can be better. But I do believe that probably the answers to fix some of the stuff that we've been stagnant. I think it's somewhere amongst the ranks. So. If I have a piece of advice, is just, lead from where you were and bring us those ideas,
Gotcha. Hit the nail right on the head. Trust me, I know. Getting complacent, getting stagnant. I say this all the time, stagnant water attracts mosquitoes. Then once you get those mosquitoes, it's bloodsuckers and they just pick at you. Toxic, the environment becomes toxic. And then nothing good comes from it. So, keeping a full head of steam, leading where you are, like you said, is a good point. Getting out of our own way. We can be our own worst enemy a lot of times. And repurposing, finding our purpose while we're in this position for the new recruits that are coming on as well. I mean, you don't want to be that. I remember starting off, and you got those old guys that are on that are already they tell you the job's a meat grinder. Their enthusiasm is gone. They're angry, and you're coming on, and you're full of zeal and excitement, and you see them, and you're like, wow, like I don't want to turn into that guy. All of a sudden, you see them shine on certain calls, but then you get back to the station and they're duds. I'm like, what happened? You can see the great officer in them, but then that they're mentally checked out.
Yep.
Now, I never wanted to become one of those guys as well.
No, same here. And that's what brings on the complacency, and that's dangerous, right? And we just can't operate that way.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. And Ernie, sorry, I put your comment up there, but something's going on with the stream where it took it down. So I can't put it back up here or read it. If you're still on here, if you can put that back up here, we'll get to it. But we're going to pause for the cause. We're going to jump to a certain Be Safe commercial. Let me get this up here again with all these technical difficulties. There we go.
Oh, thank goodness you're here. I heard a loud noise and I thought someone was breaking in.
Don't worry, Jeanette. I'll take a look around. I'll make sure everything's secure. Aha, I found your problem. It's your smoke detectors. They need batteries. It's definitely not your burglar alarm.
Oh, silly me. I guess I got a little too alarmed. Thank you, officer.
I'm glad I could help, but you need to make sure you get some batteries immediately and take care of that before it becomes a bigger problem. Abby, it sounds like you're having a little bit of trouble with your car battery.
Yes, officer, it's dead. I think I need a new one.
I see the problem. Nothing's wrong with your battery. Just turns out that you're actually out of gas.
Oh no, how did I not realize that? Thank you for saving me the expense of a new battery, officer.
Well, I'm glad to find out that you're only out of gas and don't need a new battery. Looks like there's a gas station right around the corner. Let's see if they'll accommodate you so you can get on your way. Good morning, ma'am. Hey, Mario, how's it going? I'll take my usual cup of coffee.
Officer, it's on me today. Let me buy you a cup as a token of appreciation for keeping us safe.
Well, thank you, ma'am. That's very nice of you. I appreciate it. I'll kindly accept your offer. You know, Captain, it's getting colder out here, and the holidays are quickly approaching us.
Yeah, it's that time of year, my friend. You know, the time we start responding to weird calls.
They say it's cuffing season, baby. You ain't good enough.
True. I almost forgot, Captain Chaos. You're absolutely right. Cuffing season is now upon us. You guys be safe out there. That's coming from me, Sergeant Be Safe. And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
And we are back. That one was a lot of fun to make. That was cuffing season. And shout out to all the voiceovers, people who donate their time and their voices for the cartoon itself. And thank you, Ernie, for putting your comment back up here. Here we go. And thank you, Chief, for redefining what safety is. Not the absence of crime, but the presence of well-being. Absolutely. And yes, SETI P, I did get your even though I don't check my text messages while I'm here, I did get your text making fun of my technical difficulties. So I have a surprise for you at the end as well. All right. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're back in the interview right here with Elliott Moya. Elliott, I appreciate you coming on the platform. I learned a lot about you. I appreciate you making yourself available. You gave wonderful insight. And ladies, if you haven't checked out the documentary, we'll make sure we get that link in the comment section. Check that documentary out. You'll enjoy it. You'll learn a lot, and you'll see two different sides of perspectives coming together for one common purpose, which is a great thing, especially in today's world and today's society. Throughout the course of the conversation, I may have forgot to ask you a question, or I may have jogged your memory on something else, Elliott. Is there something else that you want to bring to the platform right now? The floor is yours.
No, first of all, Clete, thanks for having me. This was, this was great. These, I think we said it earlier. These podcasts, these conversations, they move so fast, and they're a lot of fun to do. So this was an honor, and I really appreciate you having on. And I know it was Ernie that kind of helped steer this. So he's always looking out for me. He's an incredible human being. But no, that's about it. I think you and I, Clete, could talk here for hours. I appreciate the opportunity to have some, a little bit of time. And certainly if anybody out there that was listening enjoyed it and wants to continue the conversation, I'd love to network, meet new people, and keep this conversation going. So please, by all means, reach out.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure to have you on here again. Looking to watch you flourish, keep in contact with you as well. Thank you for everything that you have been doing and are doing for the future. And I know great things are upon you and your department and the area that you guys police. So kudos to all of you and kudos to your efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lee. Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this has been another episode of Black and Blue, where we go live weekly at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And when we do, make sure you guys tag, like, and share. Hit the put your comments in the comment section so we can get this information out there. We go live. We got a special guest coming each week for the month of December, and we're going to finish off this month of December very strong. Got a wonderful lineup for you guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, Seti P, I got this surprise and special shout out for you since you want to heckle me a little bit. I got a little joke for you. He did a voiceover, and he didn't even know he participated for this last Sergeant Be Safe cartoon. You guys, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you enjoy this cartoon. 10-4, over and out. Here we go.
Hey, bro, we got next game.
Bro, what's going on?
We got this pickup game we're about to get started.
I got a bag full of treats.
Come on, man. Don't nobody want your treats.
Treats? What kind of treats? Vapes, pills, and drugs.
Whoa, what do you mean?
Don't tell your parents.
Looks like I'm right on time. What's going on here?
There's Sergeant Be Safe. I gotta get a picture.
Oh man, Be Safe.
Treacherous Tony, we know you're up to no good. What's in that bag right there?
What bag?
Sergeant Be Safe, it's his drugs. He tried to sell it to us.
Thanks, big guy, for letting me know.
You're welcome.
You kids get out of here. Treacherous Tony, drop the bag and come over here.
You'll have to catch me first.
Don't run, or you're gonna get tased.
All right. Taser, taser, taser.
All right. I give up. I won't do it again.
That's right. Your drugs will be disposed of. So put your hands up. You're coming with us.
I'm sick of going to jail.
Listen up, kids. Don't use drugs, vapes, or pills. They're not good for you. And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.